Everyone, this is Black Woman 7 here, and today I'll be going over our BPL uh, week 12 battle. So this is the last week of the season, and we're up against Trey or Inferno the Lord. So for those of you who don't know, this is of course this is the last week, but for this league for BPL, this is technically divisional. So the funny part is, even though we pretty much secured our playoff spot no matter what, um, regarding the system. Technically speaking, there's also two other teams vying for it, and that's also I think Faded and I believe this Trey as well. So these, and it's actually kind of interesting because both of these two I battled in early in the round, or early in the last weeks, like Faded in week 11 and now Trey. So that might be interesting to keep note. So regardless, I'll probably post the playoff battle sometime around mid-May or sometime then, mid to late May. I don't know, probably like mid, or like probably like around, what about like middle May, I guess, just to keep pace. So it might be this battle and then the playoff battle. So yeah, just to like, but by then I'll probably just have some other content for you guys to enjoy. So. Alright, just a little bit of hiatus there, so anyways, I'll just be going over Trey's team. So he has Aladias, Darkrai, Aromatisse, Rotom, Pyroar, and Toxapex, and there's other mons that he had, which also were terrifying. There was the Skarmory, the Heracross, Swampert, and I think that's it. Like, I know he has Armaldo and was another mon that he had that I was like really concerned with, but to be honest, oh yeah, Tangela. Tangela was the other mon, and really, I didn't really expect Tangela and Armaldo at all. I actually expected one like the nine of this. Like it was pretty difficult figuring out like Faye's team. I'm not gonna lie, because this is like, I don't know. Because the way I don't know, the way I built was like sort of just going all in and trying to beat him. So I'll come to that point in that statement in a bit. So by the end of the video. So anyways, looking at his team, like first of all, I brought an offensive physical offensive Kyurem with a lot of Spadef because obviously Darkrai was a huge threat to my team. Then I have a Crocodile with rocks, Zapdos with like Hidden Power Flying and Discharge Defog. And of course, Hidden Power Flying is now a dead move, so that's kind of unfortunate. Jirachi and Gardevoir are actually my Combine users, or my dual Combine users, if you ask me. Because the thing is, once Heracross and Bird is gone, like Jirachi, it just goes in. Like, it just goes in against his entire team, so. And the same with Gardevoir, like, it's like a 1-2 punch, and then once they're gone, then Krellback could just sweep with, Ray Birds, like nothing aside, like maybe like Rotom and like Skarm take him, but then I have like Super Fang and Taunt for Skarmory. So anyways, I'll just get right into the video. So first off, I'll be leading off a Crocodile because I felt like he was gonna go Rotom, but or Toxapex or Lottie. So it's like I had a good feeling that he was gonna be one of those mods. I did notice something right now is that his entire team is just special. So the one he brought. So basically this Crocodile, it does have special bulk, so at least that's helpful. So we could take a hit. Right now, I'm gonna just go for rocks as he's just gonna attack what's in front of him, go for surf. So that's a fair play. I thought he was just gonna switch out there, probably to Aromatisse, but that's fair. Here he's gonna go into Rotom as I switch out and go into my Jirachi, and that's a good double switch on his end. So at this point, I'm gonna go for a Wish, try to go for, try to help heal up my Crocodile. And but first, I wanted to see whether this thing has let's say Shadow Ball, and the fact that he goes for Defog kind of implies he doesn't. So he could have Pain Split, he could have like a spread damage, but the fact that he goes defog first kind of implies that he's some kind of supports or defensive set. So at this point, I'm like, you know what? I could just start combining up, and yeah, and he actually goes for toxic, and that actually helps me in my favor because I think he expected me to switch out, so I actually get him right here. And right now, he goes hard into Simba, and I go for another Combine. Now, Pyro, I'm not gonna lie, is annoying, and it's one of the only. I'm not kidding you. Pyro is one of the only mons that actually just I don't want to say kind of go through my team, but it's just one of the mons that just does it the best. Just because it has that one ability with Unnerve, so even if this thing attacks, I can't eat the berry. So I couldn't put an Aqua Berry or, for this thing. So, and that's already in a very bad spot. I do have Agua Berry, or um I just in case Darkrai ever got low, like I get low against Darkrai, um but of course I have to kind of like kill this thing right now, or just inflict massive damage with Psychic, or because I'm +2, and either I'm gonna kill this thing, this Pyroar, or this Pyroar, like I could eat up whatever fire move it can throw at me. So here he's gonna go for a Fire Blast, and he gets a crit. Now, to be honest, I know people are gonna be like very. To be honest, this is like pretty much the one crit that, like, out of all the crits I didn't want to get, this is the one that it just was like, really? Because I would have easily taken the hit, and it would have probably taken 2 Fire Blasts to kill, and I would have had done at least a good 90% to it, or even no-code it if I could have, and based off whatever his bulk he had. So I would have easily have, like, and even if he killed my Jirachi, I would have went to Crobat, and then just pressure him with the Brave Bird, and of course he goes into hard into Rotom. However, at the very least, I'm able to threaten him with Crocodile. I could go back to Crocodile, or it's gonna be a weird exchange though. But at the very least, I would have like been able to like done some damage to Rotom, find out whether it's defensive or not. So now I'm forced to go to Kieran Black, and yeah, it's just looking kind of bad now. And because I have nothing for this Pyroar aside, some bulk, like Gardevoir could take a hit, but now I'm like, shit, like this thing could just run through my team. I know Gardevoir has some massive amount of SPDF I gave it, but like still, it's like really, really annoying that like it just got a crit, and I don't even know if this thing is like choice specs or not, and that's already going in my mind. So here he goes to Pex, and I go for Dragon Claw. I honestly should have went for the Fusion Bolt, but honestly I just didn't know what to do because I just wanted damage, guaranteed damage on Pyroar, the best possible damage available. So here I'm just gonna go for Fusion Bolt, and this is where I find out that this thing's physically defensive, and I'm like, oh shit, this is bad, because this thing's Fizz-Def, and I can't break it. And I think this is obviously for Blaziken, so, and I have to just keep spamming this, and of course he goes for the Toxic Spike, and he lets his X go down. However, he goes to Aromatisse, and this is where I make a very, very dumb mistake. I think this is like probably the first 2 mistakes that really cost me this game. Well, I just spoiled it right there, so whatever. So here I decided to go hastily for the my Z move. I just go click my Z instead of going hard into Zapdos. Now, the reason why I didn't go hard to Zapdos is because I did not want it to get toxic at all, like whatsoever. And I was like, oh man, if this thing had like, if this thing has Calm Mind, this could start setting up really, and I could be in a really bad spot. And I just don't know what to do. I do have a lot of Spadef on Kirim though. Like, it's just that I don't have that much for because of his speed tiers. Like, I could just invest a good amount at least. So, just enough to outspeed Heracross. So, however, the thing is, now I'm in a very very weird spot here. Do I go into Kirim? Do I go to Zapdos? Or do I go to Crobat? Now, naturally, I was thinking I could like go. Okay, obviously, I'm gonna waste my Z move here, and I'm just gonna like get nothing out of it. So, and I find out this thing's leftover. So here I go hard at Crobat, thinking I could wall this thing, but he actually has the Psychic, and that's good prep on his end, by the way. So, but still, that means he doesn't have heal veil. So, and now I'm kind of kicking myself because based off of my initial team prep, now I'm like, well, shit, I don't have Toxic, and I can't break Aromatisse now because now it's gonna come down to like trying to get a para against this thing and getting some para hacks on Aromatisse and whatnot. So, and also trying to have Gardevoir carry this game. So, and him going for Psychic is pretty annoying because now, I pretty much could have like, I'm kind of forced to go into Zapdos, but at the same time I'm like in a weird spot here. So, I was like, do I just go for Super Fang or do I just go for the Brave Bird? Because now I am in a situation where I just can't let Rotom just toxic my Zapdos at all. So, and at this point, and also during this point of the battle, I was very tilted, and I was just like, after seeing like Jirachi just drop like that, I was like, I was still pretty upset about that. So, and thinking back now, like I should have just went hard into Zapdos here and just don't go for defog, try to remove this T-Spikes. But as you'll see, like I'm just gonna let him in for the rest of the game. So I just go for Super Fang, expecting like a switch in to let's say Lottie or Darkrai. And also, I don't know what Darkrai set this is, and I'm like, oh shit, this thing could like really fuck with me. So that's why I was very concerned with the most. So here, I just go to Zapdos, and I just go for Stat Discharge, and right now, I'm just going to keep clicking it, because I kind of need to get a Paralysis, and yeah, and then this is where I make my second major mistake, and since I don't have Toxic on Zapdos, and I have Hidden Power Flying for Heracross, I'm just in a situation where honestly, I can't do much for his team aside, you go for discharge. And honestly, I should have just gone hard with the defog. Now, this is where I kind of realized at this point, wait, I can't defog at all because Rotom's gonna come in and it's gonna toxic my Mons. And I know I could play around with maybe toxic, but I'm like this is around this time. I'm like, wait a minute, I have to play around with Toxic, and Toxic Spikes, don't I? To like even have a chance to win. So my thought process here was, I have to get Gardevoir Toxic. It's not Toxic, but Toxic Spikes instead of Toxic, because Toxic Spikes will do 12% instead of like incremental damage. And I'm like, well, and if Rotom is really fast, and I'm really really screwed. So I need to get Gardevoir in with the T-Spike instead of defogging. So now I'm like, I'm not even making sense right now, because at this point, just that's how tilted I was, because and how weird my thought process was, if you can think about it. So at this point I'm like, okay, maybe I could just get up rocks. So, and of course I'm gonna go for a discharge against the Rotom, and I'm gonna find out this thing is defensive. I'm just gonna keep covering discharges, and I just want to see what he has. And of course, I let this thing to get toxic. So now I'm like, bullshit. I could have went hard into Gardevoir or to Mauler, the Crocodile, at least, so prevent this thing from doing that. So that's definitely a misplay on my own end. Going for that, I should have like just switched out to Crocodile right here, and just like taken the Toxic. So I should have just went for the Stealth Rocks here, and yeah, or as you see, He's gonna go for Hex again, and honestly, I'm just gonna go for knockoff. And he's gonna have the Color Berry, but I guess the discharge puts him in range of that. So with the Color Berry knockoff, so yeah. But this Crocodile is gonna go down very soon, so at this point, I'm gonna have to go for knockoff again. And by the way, this is like I have to just remove the item and leftovers because I know I'm gonna die. So I know he's gonna just wall this. At this point, this this Aromatisse just walls my entire team unless Gardevoir can just set up right now. So and at this point, I'm like, okay, so I trace a Ruin Veil, so that's useless. So um, at this point, I'm like thinking to myself, okay, what could I do? Obviously, I could start setting up Calm Minds, and he has to. This based off Gardevoir's Spadef, I could pretty much 1v1 this thing. So I can just go for a Wish here, and yeah. Now he goes hard into Latias, and I'm like, wait a minute, does this thing have Trick? And given how defensively I've been playing all this time, I'm just like, well, shit. If this thing does have Trick, I have to just lock myself into Moonblast. Or because I have Moonblast and Thunderbolt, because I have Thunderbolt for Skarmory, which he didn't bring. Um, so now I'm in a very weird spot. So he does go for the Shadow Ball, but of course, with the massive Zeph I have and the Calm Mind, I'm just gonna recover back. However, now he's gonna go with the Darkrai, so now this is where I kind of kick myself here because here this is where I should have just went I should have just easily have went for another Wish, but for some reason I just don't. And he goes for Protect, and I'm like, wow, I could have just got a Wish up. And of course, I went for this because I didn't know what the hell Darkrai is going to do. And I wanted to get that thing out of there ASAP. So, yeah. If I got a Wish here, I would have been healthier. I would have been way healthy. And not only that, I would have at least gone or got rid of this Gardevoir, not the Gardevoir, but this Darkrai, but maybe near to around 80 to like near full health HP. So. And I'd have been healthy against the Pyroar because you'll see soon why. Goes for Sludge Bomb, it doesn't do anything. And I would have just healed that up really quickly, so. And you'll see that I would have probably been around like 95-ish%, so. Now he goes into Pyroar, and of course, I can't kill this thing, but I could wall it. I could have like walled this thing, so that's why I've just kind of kicked myself there. So now this Pyroar is in, and guess what? He has Z Hyper Beam, and it kills me. And turns out that was a roll in my favorite to live, and I'm like, yeah, great. So now all this battle is already going really south really quickly. So. And the fact that I didn't bring a Toxic Mon means I just get walled up by Aromatisse and lose 1-0, so that's pretty much what happens. As you'll see, he's just gonna fire off the Hyper Beam, and I'll just explain what happened the rest of the game. So essentially, yeah, this is really comes down to like this shit usually happens when like I have to deal with a team that, by the way, I try to predict him to go for Protect. I just go for Free Shock. Try to get a paralysis from that. So, so maybe like my only win con, by the way, was him getting multiple paralysis with Discharge and maybe Free Shock. So yeah, go figure. So, anyways, I could have like played this better. Like if I had a Pokemon with Toxic, let's say with maybe Zapdos, which I was originally gonna put, then I would have probably walled this Aromatisse to death, and I would have just went in and out between Zapdos and Kyurem, and I would have just walled it. Yeah, like there was nothing he would have done. And not only that, I would have gotten rid of this the rest of his team. Well, I would have been able to win just by doing that alone, because he has to kill this Kyurem and eventually and Zapdos. Eventually, Zapdos or Kyurem would have killed or revenge killed this Aromatisse. So because I could just reset toxic turns and whatnot, so I could use that to my advantage. So, and also made a very huge mistake in not like keeping keeping Zapdos healthy, with toxic. So I just it's like sort of similar to what happened to Epic, where like I let Mew get toxic, and that just is exactly what happened. I let Zapdos get toxic, and that's pretty much what's gonna cost me this game. I could have probably won if I just add pressure as well. Like pressure Zapdos could actually really, yeah, it could actually just be really nice here. Just pressure stalling these Aromatisse out of like the thing, and I just have like I probably would have won like that. But at the same time, it would have been a very elongated game. So yeah. So GG's to Trey. He kind of prepped better, if you ask me. Like just having Aromatisse just add a mon with toxic just wall the rest of my team, and just me going full tilt when that crit happened. So I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty much what happened. Like pretty much the minute I saw the crit, I was like, well, crap, I'm gonna lose. So, and I think that's sort of a defeatist mindset that I kind of have to like avoid having during these matchups, especially with playoffs coming very soon. So, and there's a good chance I might battle him or Trey. It depends on whether or Trey or Faded, and it depends on whether Faded has a higher differential. So, or I think Faded has the matchup advantage as well. So there's a good chance I battle Faded instead of Trey. So, but if I do battle Trey, then there's a good chance I have to bring something very similar to this matchup, because honestly, I think for this battle, I think I brought my best sets, and if I do a team builder or whatnot, you'll see what I mean. So, because I actually think that this was probably the best team I brought. So, and now it's gonna be like very interesting to see what changes, what adaptations what adaptations I have to do for this matchup if I do battle him for playoffs round 1. So, yeah. Usually that's one thing I really want to avoid, is like having these round 1 matchups where it's consecutive. I don't like doing that. Just on a personal note, I don't like battling same person again for playoffs. I probably should have just memed if you asked me, but at the same time it would be disingenuous to Faded, because honestly, like if I because I don't like doing like memes unless it's like the game isn't really as important, or like it's kind of a throwaway if you ask me. So this is one of those battles where it just really I couldn't really meme. Not I could do it, but it's just that like just by legal code, not legal code, but like, just by like code or chivalry or whatever you want to call it, honor if you ask me. So, and I wanted, and it feels right. So basically right. So, anyways, I'm just blabbering or about myself. So usually that's exactly what happens when I lose. So in these games. So like long story short, not having toxic equals having a bad time versus like Aromatisse. I mean, we've seen that before. So, anyways, I'm gonna catch you guys later, and I already know this video is long, so hope you guys enjoyed me doing whatever. So I'll catch you guys. See ya.